Alright, back in the relative sanity of the workshop. It's a filthy night out there. But it may not be warm, but at least it is vaguely dry in here. Oh my god, I've just seen the biggest spider I've seen for a long time. Crikey. Don't know if you can hear the rain on the roof. So this evening I have two things that I suppose I want to try to achieve. One is levelling up the, well, not levelling, flattening the build table a little bit. And the second thing is laying out the some paper, some lining paper in fact, onto which I can draw the fuselage. So I can make some kind of a jig for it. So I found my tripod, hence the steadiness of the shot. But I'm just going to show you what I mean about flattening the tables. If I just remove you from your... So I'm not sure if this is going to be possible to see. If I eyeball along this, you can see that it is a little bit undulating. I think I can tolerate a millimetre or two, but down at the far end here it definitely dips on the far table. Maybe I'll try and ignore Harold. He's just doing his thing, getting prepared for the kids. So if you look along there, you can see there's a definite dip around there, which is more than I'm prepared to put up with. Furthermore, looking across the table, where are we? There we are. Will you focus? Focus. There. Oh, this is hard to see, but there is in the centre here a bit of a lip there. This side is higher than that side, but actually it's less pronounced than I remember. I think the issue is kettle needs to be fixed. The issue is kind of similar on both sides, I think. What is it? I'm trying to look. It's not so bad on this side. There is a bit of a scoop in it. So I think at the very least I'm going to try and take the dish out of this part just before where the tables join. Now to do that, what I'm going to do is, my plan is to introduce some shims underneath the top where the screws are. And when I say a shim, I mean probably some washers. Let's see if we can find some thin washers. I've got some penny washers like this. I think they're going to be too thick. And the other thing I was thinking about was I've got some up here on my collection of random brackets. I've got these things which are, I would say they're about a millimetre thick. They're just scrap bits of metal that came from a pallet kind of box thing that I took to pieces. They're actually quite useful, but I might even whiz a couple in half. It saves some of the big proper ones for other jobs. But yeah, I'm just wondering if I can slide one of those in. That might get us there. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a look. I'll just undo a screw or two and see if it makes a difference if I slide something in underneath. Okay, alright, just bear with me 1 second. So I have I've gone along, I've eyeballed it. I think it's better. It's hard for you to see, but I think it's better than it was. I think it's not perfect, but the imperfections are a lot more gradual, and I think I can tolerate that. Because the fuselage, I mean, I've been around aircraft for a while, and to be honest, they're not perfect pieces of equipment, and things do undulate a little bit, and I suppose I can probably take out some problems as I actually build onto the table itself. I'm just doing this to try and get the best baseline we really can. So I've marked up. I've been along and I've marked up. Can you just see that? Just about see that? I've marked up where I need to shim up there. All these, and actually, what's happened is here. I can find my bit of writing. There's a slightly proud area here, so this is a bit high. That's actually, in part, I think, what's creating the impression that things are maybe a little bit worse than they really are. So there's two proud bits. There's one bit there, and there's one here. So in the anticipation that the other side is probably going to be similar, I'm going to whiz these, get my angle grinder out, I'm going to whiz these little shims in half so that leaves me some spares to use on the other side, and then drill into the tabletop at the two areas where I think things are a bit high, and we'll see how we go from there. Well, there you go. I think I'm going to mark them up the next time. Just did that one freehand, but they'll do their job. But yeah, best endeavours, mark up. Let's get it right. Right, I won't inflict all that on you. I'll bring you back in when I've actually finished chopping these things up. Got a bunch of shims. I chopped them in half and then actually just cut them in half again because they're gonna slide underneath the table and hopefully not move for a very long time actually. So yeah, they don't need to be kind of easy to take out and put back in again. I just setting up, I got distracted by the plans. They seem very. The more I look at the plans, the less I seem to understand what's going on. But I'm sure that will get easier. Anyway, right. So I'll get these fitted. Excuse me. I'll get these fitted and see if I've managed to get myself to a better place on the flatness. Oops. Right. Back in a sec. to me that looks a lot better. I haven't dealt with the proud areas, which is there and right down near the interface of the two boards where the tripod is. I haven't dealt with those yet. I'm going to do those in a second. But to my eye, it's very hard to see on camera, but to my eye, I think I've taken out the worst of the sort of hills and valleys that were going on, which is really what I wanted to do. Yeah, best endeavours. Okay, right, I'm going to do the proud bits now and see where that gets me. Right, so I'm just going to vaguely measure, make some attempt to measure an equidistant position, although I haven't judged that too badly by eye actually. Just we'll do a hole here. That's in the middle of that high spot. We'll do one here. It should be in the middle of this high spot. There we go. Right, okay, so pilot holes first. Two. No. Just gonna drill out the top and then we'll countersink last. This one doesn't want to go all the way down. This is just to take the top of the screw. Is that the shank? I can't remember. And I should know my screw technical terms, but I don't. Right, countersinking. Right, we do want these to be definitely be flush, if we can. Whack. Do this one first, so you can see. I forgot almost got my nails, my screwdriver, trusty screwdriver. So yeah, that shim slid in far too easily, so that's clearly standing proud. So we'll just move this down. This is one of them. I won't go too crazy with the screwing down. Where's my screw gone? Oh god. Oh god, there it is. Right, this one. Can't stop looking at these plans. And I don't know, I'm just not sure. It's going to take quite a lot of interpretation. Right, what does that look like? Oh yeah, that is much better. That really is a lot better. There's no way this will come out on the camera, but I might as well film it anyway. But yeah, if you use some specialist software, I'm sure you can tell that's a lot better than it was when I filmed it before. Yeah, that really has, that's yeah, I'd be prepared to call that flat-ish now, whereas before it really was a bit of it was undulating before. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, right, I'm going to try and attempt a similar thing on the other side. it's going to be a similar process, so probably not very interesting, so I won't film it. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to lay out the lining. I'm going to have a look at the plans, maybe we could do that together, see if I can fathom out what what area of the table I need to actually cover with paper, so I can start scaling up the drawings. And I will delight you with that shortly. Okay, but I'm just about to embark on flattening up the other side. Okay, I'll catch you in a minute. Right, so yeah, I was just about to lay the paper out again, and I just had a look at the plans. Again, I've got to stop looking at the plans. And so these are the plans for the fuselage. Just move Harold out of the way. Just trying to give me a bit of giving me a few pointers. And they're kind of, I don't know, it's difficult, it's awkward. They are, it looks to me like, I could almost do both fuselage sides at once on this table. The table is 120 centimetres, 1200 millimetres wide in proper money. And it seems to me that this measurement here, for example, can you see that? Is that, yeah. That measurement there on this side of the fuselage is 532.5 mil, and so if we that clearly, well, it's from there to there, isn't it? So I think I could probably set up both sides on this table and do both sides at the same time. Is that really stupid? Am I about to do something really stupid? Probably. So what you don't want to do is make two lefts or two rights. I need to make sure they're handed correctly. But God, even I should be able to work that one out. Other things that strike me, I think this top surface of the top of each side of the fuselage is helpfully, I think, completely straight. And this, I don't know if you can see that, but this part here coming down from the bottom of the tail towards the trailing edge of the wing looks to me like that's completely straight as well. So we've got what are effectively two straight pieces of material, and then we're popping members in between the two, really, in the correct locations. So, okay, so that is helpful. And then once you've finished that, can you see the bottom part? The bottom part is this, yeah, down here. This is the view from above, I believe. You just draw the two sides together around the frames that you've got. But so that's not too bad. I'm not sure how this part here is going to respond to being curved. Right, okay. So I think you need to laminate. It looks to me like that is formed out of two laminates, two pieces of material laminated together. That'll hold its curve, and then I'm just thinking that's a curve in two directions. You're curving it clearly to form a kind of to interface with the upper surface of the wing, but you're also eventually going to be curving it this way as well. And I know most things don't really like being curved in two directions, but I suppose square section pieces of material will tolerate that. So So I'm in danger of actually starting to do something really proper now. So I'm going to get the paper down on the tables. All right, let's not. I'm going to try and set something up that looks like it might actually allow me to build one side first, and then if that looks good, I'll duplicate it on the other side of the table. That's what I'm going to do. So kind of a dry run on this side. If that looks good, do the other side, and then proceed with actually sticking everything together. I'm going to need lots of little formers. I'm going to screw down into the table. I'm going to plop this out onto the paper, screw through that into the table to put in little blocks of material that will support this wood. And I've seen countless times there's this technique where you have a block and then you have a sort of a cam, you have a eccentrically a piece of material with an eccentric centre drilled in, and that allows you to sort of cam lock and wedge something between the two. That's the theory. So if I can set up a number of those kind of devices to hold it in place, I suppose I just have to keep adding them until I can get the material to stay where I want it to be. You know, the question being, where do you put these little wedges? But some holding these in position, and some holding these longerons in position. I have to scarf together some pieces to make up the longerons, because they're longer than any material that I actually have. But I think that's okay. Okay, so right, so the top, these longerons are 15 by 15, and then the intervening frames, not frames, what are they? They're not frames, they're just bits of material. The intervening pieces are 8 by 15 as far as I can tell. The other problem that I'm struggling a little bit with is to be fair to myself, partly the quality of the reproduction wasn't ace to start with, and these plans have also spent a lot of time being moved around the country until they came here to not exactly the best environment for old pieces of paper to live. So one task is probably going to be me sitting down with a pen and actually kind of inking over the top of what's here before it completely fades. What I shouldn't be doing probably is what I am doing, which is leaving it out on the build table to fade. So I need to do a bit of that. But I'm going to put this damn paper down on the table now, and that'll be a thing done before I run out of energy, enthusiasm, and confidence, and everything else. Right, I'll stick you in the corner, and then you can watch me do that if you want. Right, there you go. So I've discovered something else I'm not very good at. It seems to be kind of what life's all about, really. Anyway, I've got some paper. So that's lining paper laid out on the table. Probably didn't need to do this. It may be that I could just draw straight down onto the plywood, but it just seemed to make sense to have something down to draw onto, I reckon. That means at least when I move on to whatever the next part of the build is, I can pull this up and put new stuff down and do new drawings. I mean, ultimately, so there's two issues really. One is what's going to be my reference datum for drawing. to be honest, the edge of the lining paper is a very, very uniform straight line, so I could probably use that. This is one of these things that I keep coming across. I mean, obviously we've only had lasers for like 70 years or something, but they don't sell steel rules at like 5 meters long. So how do you find these straight lines? I mean, I could use a very taut piece of twine and then mark against that, and I suppose gradually draw some kind of datum line along that from point to point if I was very careful. I've seen in kind of green woodworking and stonework people using string that's been dipped in ochre, and then you pull it taut, lift it and snap it back down, and it creates a very straight line. But to be honest with you, I think the edge of the lining paper or the edge of the ply would serve as a sufficiently good datum to actually create a straight line from which I can project the rest of the plan onto the table. And then I think really the I mean, I can see this is it's a bit saggy. It's probably not going to get any better as the damp gets to it. It's going to get a bit more slack. But the real accuracy is going to come from the jig that I create on top of this paper. So I think drawing the plans up is really going to, I say, just be a guideline. I think it's going to be an indication of where things need to go to a good degree of accuracy, and then I think final measurements before things are actually placed on a permanent basis will be where the finessing comes from. So there we go. I suppose that's another job done. It still doesn't feel much like an airplane yet. There seems to be a lot of setup. That's probably about as much airplane as I can cope with today. What's next? Okay, next video I'm going to start drawing this stuff out and scaling it up and drawing it out on the paper. It won't take up the whole table. I mean, it's going to be I can't even see. I haven't added all the numbers together. 3 meters, 4 meters long, 4 or 5 meters, 4 meters, something like that. Oh, hang on. Length 17 foot. Oh, that's helpful. 17 foot 6 inches. Okay, 17 foot 6 inches. 5 meters. 5 and a bit. 5 and a bit meters. Yeah, 17 foot 6. 15 divided by 3 is 5 meters. So yeah, it's going to be a reasonable length. I thought it would all fit onto 2 tables, but now I'm starting to wonder. Unless I've got my... no, but that will have the... yeah, sorry, I'm being an idiot. That's going to have the engine at one end and the rudder sticking out at the other. So I think this assembly is going to be less than that. I reckon it's going to be about between 4 and 5 meters long, which means it will fit on this table entire. Okay, all right. Well, there's that bit of muppetry out of the way. Yeah, catch you on the next one, I suppose. Whenever that happens, and I'm sure Harold will be there overseeing once more, as a reassuring presence that he is. Okay, catch you next one. Take care. Bye. I was asked, I'm filming this after I was finished before and started mucking around with some other things. I was asked about parts, bolts. Okay, this is most of the metal parts that I have. The hardware have come from here. A2510C bolt, quantity 6. Light aero spares, I'm not sure if they still exist. 13th of July 1994, which was 26 years ago? Okay. Oh my god. So yeah, that's where most of the stuff has come from. I was asked about this. It looks like I haven't checked that part number against the drawings. I'm assuming that is that part number corresponds to the part number in the plans. Usually the bolts have some kind of marking on the head. LL. Okay. So yeah, I'm exposing my ignorance here because I'm not quite sure. I can't interpret the codes on the ends of bolts. I will have to look that up. But I will of course have a quick check of these to make sure that they are what I think they are. But yeah, there we go. So that is as much as I know at the moment. I have a little bit of learning to do. In fact, I have a lot of learning to do. All right. Okay. And that'll be that. So I'll probably put that in as an epilogue rather than reordering things. Okay, it's beer o'clock. Take it easy.